Sam Abdul Fattah, mechanical engineer.
Are you excited for a tour of Sparkling Falls?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hi guys, I'm Layla and I'm part of the Sparkling Falls tour organization, and I'll be your tour guide today. Are you two excited?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, well, I have a quick question first.
Sure, what's up?
I know California has a lot of fires. How do you stop them from damaging the area?
Well, we use water and other fire repellents, along with moving fuels such as dry vegetation. However, even though fires can be harmful, they are also essential for some plant survival. To address this, we have controlled fires in some areas.
What about landslides?
So we know those problems like that can be very big issues. So our workers often go out and search and remove loose materials from our environment. In addition to, all of our buildings are built on a flexible pad called base isolators. These help counteract the building's movement during earthquakes.
That's really cool. What are these blue lights surrounding your city?
So the blue lights around our city and around each building entrance is used to kill viruses in the air.
That's really cool. Someone told me Sparkling Falls is a circular economy. What does that mean?
Circular economic activity means that we are able to reduce waste to a minimum. This is because all of our waste products are reused and transferred in a continuous cycle.
Oh, that's cool. I wonder if they have that where we're from.
Where are you guys from?
Nebraska.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. I was wondering, what is everyday life like here in Sparkling Falls?
Everyday life in Sparkling Falls is pretty typical. Adults work 5 days a week, and students go to school using holographic entities to teach their lessons.
So where do most people live?
Our residential area is in the southwest region of our city. Currently, we have a population of about 75,000.
And what kind of public services do you have?
Here in Sparkling Falls, we have a wide range of public services. This includes emergency to healthcare providers, all the way to parks and schools.
What about the town's businesses?
So here in Sparkling Falls, we encourage entrepreneurship. So you'll find businesses big and small.
That's cool. Lily and I will have to go on a little shopping spree later. Okay, fine, a big one.
With all these business opportunities, over 90% of our citizens are working civilians.
Wow. I know you have a lot of job opportunities here. How did the hours get split up?
Well, we use something called a hybrid model. This lets the people decide when they work.
Oh, that's nice.
That looks really cool. What is it?
This is our magnetic levitation train, or maglev for short. It works because there are two magnets. On one end, the north pole is facing outwards, and on the other end, the south pole is facing outwards. When these magnets are generated, propulsion loops are created, which creates a push-pull effect, moving our train smoothly and efficiently.
What do you do about garbage and recycling?
Well, all of our packaging is made out of recyclable material, so it can be composted along with other items such as biodiesel in our biocenter.
You said something about biodiesel. What is that?
Biodiesel is a diesel made from renewable resources. For example, a very large portion of our cars are made from a biodiesel made mostly from imported soybeans.
And what is that big thing over there?
That is our direct air capture machine, or DAC for short.
Oh, I see. How does it work?
Well, it uses something that looks like a really big fan to take in air from the outside environment. This air is mixed with a solution called potassium hydroxide. This solution chemically binds with the carbon in the air and solidifies it into a rock. This rock is then pushed down into the earth and the clean air is released.
Wow. How did you guys create everything? Was it only the founders that helped?
Of course not. We used many engineers, ranging from civil to transportation engineers, all the way to water engineers.
Wow. And how did you guys decide where to put everything?
We use something called electronic distance measure device, or EDM for short. This works by emitting an infrared light at a modulated controlled pace. This light bounces off a specific target in our city, and we do this to multiple spots. Once all those spots are plotted, we are able to measure the distance between each and find out where best to plot everything.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Seriously?
Yes, where can I go?
Right down there.
Okay, well, I have a question real quick.
Sure, what's up?
I know you have the Bio Center for Organic Waste, but what do you do about sewage?
Well, a very large portion of our water in our residential area is cleaned through a system.
Isn't that really gross?
You know, it does sound pretty gross, but it starts off by removing any salts from water, then disinfecting it with a very heavy chlorine. This is then it removes all the salts and other chemicals from our water.
That's really cool how you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Where else do citizens get their water?
They can get their water from the rainfall or a precious waterfall's lake.
How does that work though?
There are many tiny holes beneath the surface of our lake. We are then able to transfer the water through those holes and use our use.
But won't that upset animal habitats?
We only take a very small amount not to upset the animal habitats. As well as during the flooding season, we take a little bit more than usual to help stop the destruction of the flooding.
Where else do citizens get their water other than those two?
They can also get their water from the rainfall.
Well, what should me and Lily do after our tour?
So, we here in Sparkling Falls, we offer a very wide variety of activities, from kayaking and canoeing in our lake, as well as fishing, hiking through our trails, picking fruits from our farms, or you could go to our business area and shop.
Lily and I will totally have to check some of those out. So, I don't have any more questions.
Neither do I.
Alrighty then, well I'll see you around. Bye!
Thank you so much.
Bye.
And looking at your sign, it says the city runs entirely on renewable energy. So explain that. How do you change all that stuff to energy?
So, in California, this is where it's located, more specifically what is now known as Yosemite, California, there's a ton of direct sunlight. So on top of all our houses and all of our buildings in this area, there are solar panels. So with these, they can be transferred into usable energy in our biocenter. And then we all know that sometimes there's those cloudy days where solar energy is not the most reliable and most efficient source. So we resort to our hydro energy power from our lake.
So solar and hydro.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out. It seems like this is already a nice place, so I guess I'm trying to understand what climate change problem has developed and how do you actually work to adapt to it and mitigate it.
So when choosing this area in California, we know that currently climate change and the deterioration of the ozone is a pretty big issue. So we really wanted to hone in and focus on that area more specifically. So we use items, our mitigation, such as our direct air capture machine, to help reduce the carbon in the air and make sure that our environment is more safe and steady. And with the climate change, that means there's less drought, which means we are able to stop our waterfall from a drought and help it stop from. Thank you.
But it seems like the location is already is an ideal like. Let me ask another question. Can you go over the construction of the houses and like I guess what is the residential? First of all, let's cover the zoning. I know you have the residential. Where the rest of I guess let's go over the commercial. Yeah.
Where are your zones?
So, yeah, residential is over here, and then we have our business, industrial over here, mainly industrial near this biocenter, and then over here with our peach trees and strawberry farms, we have our more agricultural zone, and then by our waterfall and like this general area is more of our tourist destinations where we have our hiking trails and kayaking.
I think if I'm understanding your previous question now, thinking about it. So we have gotten this question a lot, especially with it being a national park. We believe that national parks like this one is going to deteriorate with the future, how climate change is happening, how much litter is in the earth right now. So we really wanted to find one that we had most of a connection with and really focus on it to help stop the destruction of the natural parks in the future, if that's what you're asking.
We can talk about transportation. So you say every car in the city runs on biodiesel. What does biodiesel mean to you, and how are you getting biodiesel in the first place, and how are you distributing it to your citizens?
So we're getting biodiesel from imported soybeans. So a good thing that comes of this is we're supporting U.S. farmers, and being from Nebraska, we learned about how you can make biodiesel from soybeans. And so it may seem that like getting things imported, it can be bad for our city. So we make sure that everything being imported is transported using only biodiesel, and then in return we export peaches and strawberries again using only biodiesel.
And then, how our citizens get it, they get it at their more typical gas stations, you would say, but this time instead of the more harmful gases, it's replaced with our very safe and green gas. gases.
Is there any emissions from a car with biodiesel? I don't know, myself know the answer to that.
No, there's no harmful emissions with the biodiesel, and that's one of the main reasons we chose it, because we know that the magnetic levitation train for short distances, that's not super helpful, it's not very efficient. So we wanted to make sure not to get rid of these cars, but instead replace it with a more sustainable option.
What's the impact on the local economy with the changes in the use of the fuel, but also with the exporting of the fruits?
So by doing this, we can strengthen our economy. We really like to have good relations with surrounding communities and just communities around the country, around the world, because our goal is to inspire other communities to do the same, like go completely green. And so by having these good relations, we're hoping that like by coming into our city or by us going to theirs, they can take stuff away from our city.
Can you speak to the lights that you mentioned? You mentioned that's kind of UV or something. What's the science behind that?
So this idea actually came to us a little bit later in the program when I saw a actual TikTok video on this. It was an ad for this phone cleaner using blue lights. So we did some research on it, and we found that is a very safe and sustainable way to help remove the viruses on the phone. So we thought that we can incorporate that in our city and help remove the viruses from the air.
You know what the level, like you don't have to be within 1 foot of that or something? So here you have it like kind of goes across the entire city.
So we just did this because we're representing that it lines every entrance of our buildings, but
Okay.
yeah, it would just be pretty hard to line every entrance.
Okay.
We couldn't find an LED little enough to fit in these buildings.
What do you see as the most futuristic part of what you have here for the climate solution?
So our most futuristic, we would probably say the direct air capture machine, because there is about 2 or 3 in the world right now, and when we found that out, we were a little confused by it because the pricing of it to create it wasn't that expensive in total, and it is a very clean and a well suitable way and option to do it. So we wanted to incorporate that in our city as a futuristic element and a very sustainable migration element as well.
Let's go over the engineering process. Can you walk us through the process, how you identified the problem and how you actually thought about solving it?
Well, one of the main issues that we decided to focus on was the deterioration of the ozone, especially in California. So we went through many solutions to help find this, and we had a couple in mind, but we found that the direct air capture machine was the best one suitable for our city at least. So we designed it and we made sure to test it out and prove it. It took a couple of tries to really get it to work into the right look that we wanted. We've tried a couple and they were too big or they were too small or they didn't work efficiently. But we decided that this one was the best. So it was a very long cycle of building it, going back, improving it, until we were finally able to share it with you guys and our other judges in our final item.
What were some of the major discussions, debates you guys had in doing your project as a team?
So our first decision was the waterfall, where should we place it? There was the idea of putting it in the center, but in the end we resolved to put it on the side. And then another one was our housing, because we needed something smaller. As you can see, we went sort of small with our houses, and there was a lot of different ideas before we actually found one that worked, but once we got something to work, it really came together.
We started with using kind of a cardboard housing.
Continue on for another minute because they finished their presentation.
We started with cardboard housing, and that was a very kind of childish looking. Like it wasn't very realistic, and we didn't want to put that on our city. We wanted to make it look. We knew that we could have done better, and so it's actually very funny, but these are black straws and googly eyes that we placed upside down to make it look like this kind of housing.
What's the scale in the model?
1 inch is equal to every 100 feet, and then with our direct air capture machine and our farming, it's 1 inch is equal to every 20 feet.
Oh, I see. 2 scale. Otherwise those trees are massive.
Yes.
So what examples of the movie?
Should we move up to the
So-
model?
Our moving part is our direct air capture machine. And then we also did have another moving part, but some of the materials we needed got lost in transit. But we had a moving maglev train, and how this worked was there was a tightly coiled wire inside of this pool noodle, and then we would put a battery through. It had magnets on each end, which were custom made. Those are the things that we lost, and so we would put it through, and then it would move to the other end.
Okay, now that is your more minutes. So were these, the idea here is these are roads for the biodiesel vehicles?
Yes.
They are actually made out of plastic, recycled plastic, because we knew that we would need a use for that plastic, and so it seemed like a good compromise to use it for our roads.
How do you make your bill?
So underneath of it is a mixture between styrofoam and insulation. If you look to the side, we wanted to have that a little bit more clear so you're able to see that. And then on top of it, it is spray foam and spray paint.
Okay.
You said these are straws.
Yes. Straws and googly eyes.
How is this, how did you all build, design that, the moving part?
So underneath of it, there is a motor, and this motor helps us be able to spin it. And then with it, we attach some of these connecting pieces. They're called connecteds, and we were able to get it to spin on top. And then this is a container that we had painted green.
Okay, so you made like you used a pre-made motor and then the connectors?
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and these were, what are these?
That's our biocenter.
Okay, so all those are just biocenters. Okay.
Is there any technology that you adopted in your future city, but nonetheless represented some sort of a trade-off?
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, when you made certain decisions, did they also were in exchange of trade-offs?
Oh, if I'm trying to fit this in the answers correctly, we did have a lot of trading because we know that you cannot have a sustainable city just yours, but you need to be able to be associated with the communities outside of you. So, like we said before, we have imported soybeans that we could trade for our peaches, strawberries, or our excess energy that we have throughout our city. We are able to trade those with other places around the globe.
But when you made these decisions, were there any compromises that you had to accept?
Yes.
Like downsides?
Yes.
There were, we had a lot of disagreements and stuff, but in the end we tried to just figure out what would be best, keeping our city clean and running efficiently.
One thing that we had, our maglev train, that was originally our only mode of transportation, and then we realized that it wouldn't be convenient if, let's say, you were just going from house to house to get on the bullet train just to go, not very far, and because the stops are spread out, we added biodiesel.
So how do you get from here to here to Citizen? Is that through the maglev?
So you can use the magnetic levitation train for longer distances, and let's say you're in between a stop with our train and we realize walking that distance